So anytime a large company produces an animated film, I'm all over it. That being said, I saw Wreck-It Ralph last night. This is a video game noise. Now, before I start talking about Wreck-It Ralph, I want to say two things. One is that this is a spoiler-free review. So if you have not seen the movie yet, which is totally okay because it just came out yesterday, it's fine. You can watch it. And the second thing is that this video will actually be split into two parts. The first part is just kind of talking about the movie and what I thought, a review. And the second part is kind of what this movie means for the animation industry. Snooze fest. Pfft, just kidding. It's kind of interesting. Okay, first thing I want to say is I had been hearing about this film for a long time and I had very high expectations, and the film completely blew me away. Plot-wise, I was fully engaged with the story the entire time, and it was a relatively long animated movie. I want to say it was like maybe 2 hours, probably over 2 hours, which is long for an animated movie. The characters were really lovable and understanding, and I especially loved Vanellope von Schweetz, which was Sarah Silverman's character. Her and her relationship with Ralph throughout the entire movie really kind of brought the whole story together for me in the end. The moral was very wholesome, but it was not overbearing like what happens in most animated films that are intended for families. I mean, the moral was something that everyone can relate to. You know, don't let labels determine who you are, and it was well brought out, it was well played, and I didn't feel like, oh god, okay, I get it, thank you. Visually, this movie was fantastic. I will talk about more of the 3D animation in the next segment of this video, but visually, like, the characters were beautiful and the sets were fantastic. They were so in-depth. I thought the character animation was mind-blowingly amazing. The characters moved so lifelike, which is something that is so hard to capture, especially in 3D animation. I've learned this now since I'm learning 3D animation, that creating a moving character out of essentially a cube of data is nearly impossible, and these animators clearly worked so hard and they studied their characters so thoroughly, and it totally showed. I was like, the entire first half of the movie, I just couldn't stop staring at Jane Lynch's character, because every like facial expression she had was so well thought out, and animation melt. I also thought that it had a fantastic voice cast. Often with animated movies, Hotel Transylvania, they'll pick actors, like very famous actors, who may be great actors, but aren't necessarily great voice actors. And I thought that this film did pick, you know, pretty big celebrities like Jane Lynch, Sarah Silverman, John C. Reilly, Jack McBrayer, Mindy Kaling was in it, and I totally, like, 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh, cool, that's that guy. Lost it. It was Ralph from now on. Another thing I actually did really enjoy about this movie is that it was actually kind of unpredictable. It had a very big plot twist at the end, and I'm not, like, gonna say it. But with most Disney movies, mostly because sometimes they're based on fairy tales, but with most Disney movies, you're presented with the conflict at the beginning and you can kind of work out in your head more or less like what the resolution's gonna be. I had no idea. I thought I had an idea in my head and I was completely wrong. And I love being wrong. It was awesome. Now, whether you're an animation buff or not, you've probably noticed that more and more studios have producing more and more 3D animated films, and unfortunately, Disney is no exception. Now, the reason I say unfortunately is because while I love animation and while I love the Disney company, I felt that, well, Disney's the pioneer of animation in the United States, and I feel like they're trying to catch up to what other studios are doing, and they definitely don't need to be filling any kind of bar. They set the bar for animation in this country, and I mean, they already have Pixar. I think it's kind of useless for Disney to be producing these 3D animated films. That being said, I love that Wreck-It Ralph was in 3D. I totally contradicted myself. And the reason I'm saying this is that so many times studios will use 3D animation because it's appealing to more audiences nowadays. That doesn't necessarily mean that 3D animation is always going to be good. In fact, 3D animation is harder to come across as good than any other kind of animation, because like I said before, you're literally modeling an entire movie out of gray cubes. Just gray cubes. Animation's a wonderful art form. 2D animation and 3D animation both bring very different things to a movie. I think 3D is a wonderful new art form. I think it can do amazing things. I mean, just look at all the Pixar movies and, I mean, Wreck-It Ralph, but, like, then take a look at this new movie that's coming out called Dino Time. Just YouTube it. You're on the site already. Just YouTube it. Watch the trailer, come back, agree with me. I was so infuriated when I saw that trailer because so many amazing things are happening in 3D animation. And I don't want to say anything about the studio, but they did it rushed and it was bad and okay. Going back to why I liked Wreck-It Ralph, I thought Wreck-It Ralph excelled in 3D animation. I don't think it could have been done in 2D. Like, I thought Tangled could have easily been done in 2D, and that may or may not be a popular opinion, but I think like, besides the fact that her hair was wonderfully animated, I mean, her hair, it wouldn't have had the same effect in 2D animation, but the subject of that story, it easily could have been done in 2D. Wreck-It Ralph, it enhanced the movie in 3D. There's no way that movie could have been done in 2D, and I mean, they did such an amazing job. Even for Disney, I was completely blown away. You could tell that the animators spent so much time working out every single little detail in all of their sets. They spent so much time on the look and feel of each and every character, each and every scene, each and every set piece. The scene that comes to mind is when they're in Sugar Rush, which is like the Candyland part of the game. He was on a candy cane tree, and it's not a real candy cane tree, but I knew what it felt like, and I knew probably what it smelled like, and what its space was in relevance to the other pieces of the set, all because of the 3D animation. You could not have done that in 2D. I think Wreck-It Ralph as a whole sets a new bar for 3D animation. I think it sets a new bar for animated films, and I think it sets a new bar for family films. I feel the same way about this film that I do about Iron Giant. I think it's one that's going to be like a mecca for animators to study and for filmmakers to study as a film that breaches the family film genre. I think it's one that people of all ages can enjoy, of all backgrounds can enjoy, and take something from, if not morally, visually, movie-going experience-ly. Yeah. That's what I want to say. Anyway, if you have not seen Wreck-It Ralph, I highly recommend you go see it. Tell me what you thought about it, because I really enjoyed it. Everyone I talked to has thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you thoroughly enjoy it too. If you don't, that's fine. It's okay. On that note, if you want to hear me talk about Disney movies more, I do a podcast with my boyfriend called the Ink and Paint Club, and we are doing the entire Disney canon. So we're watching every single Disney animated film in order and talking about them. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link to that below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, later days or whatever.